Hey everybody. Hey Shannon.
Hey, Trinity.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
It's been a busy morning. Got my mammogram done though, so I feel much
Oh,
better.
boob squishes are always the
Food
best.
squishies. Oh, and she was militant. She like manhandled them. Thought you owe me a movie after this. Hey everybody. If you have your workbook, I'm definitely going to be walking through some of the things I've been doing with it. So we'll go ahead and start. I was happy to tell Kelly, let's keep this meeting going. She's at a retreat and didn't want her to have to try to squeeze this in. And I thought, we can do a quick 20-25 minute read on this chapter 5. And I'll record it so that whoever misses it can catch it. But are you guys loving this book as much as I am? It's probably my favorite direct sell book. Honestly, I call it my Bible. She's from Rodan and Fields. That's where I came from. And she always had such great training. So when she announced in 16 or 17 that she was doing this book, I was super excited. And, I always tell people who are serious about the business, grab this book. It's great. The one thing I love that she jumped into was talking about pain points. And here's something that might help your team. I did a training on this a few weeks ago.
Sorry, my French, but I'm
So
like, I have this meeting today.
let me mute everybody. Everyone can just mute themselves. Thank you. So we do vision boards, right? Especially at the end of the year. Do your vision board, put your trips, put your house, put your purse you want. And we do these amazing vision boards. But have you ever done a pain board? Ask your team to do a pain board. Because what happens if you don't get that, Louis Vuitton bag? Does your life stop? But what happens if you can't afford Becky's dance classes? Big difference, right? So sometimes we're so focused on these material things, the trips, the cars, the fancy stuff. We don't think about what is your real pain point. For me now as a single parent, not being able to afford this house that I just bought last year, that would be huge to have that taken away from my girls. Not being able to just buy groceries when I need to. For some of our stylists, not being able to put gas in their car this week, that's a real pain point. So that really helped my team. Write down your pain points. What are things that will be negatively affected if you don't work your Color Street business this week? And sometimes having that looking at you in the face, maybe it's your kid playing football. We know how expensive, sports are. Um, Keep that in mind. And yes, it's good to have those vision boards, but sometimes the pain boards are a slap in the face reminder of why we have to show up to this business every single day. So that's something that helped my team. And if you ever want me to hop on your page and do that quick training for you guys, I'm happy to do that. So what I loved about this chapter, literally the reach out rules. Who else loved the reach out rules? I think this should be take a picture of it and post it in your team pages. These are just, oh my gosh, I mean, aren't they just the truth? Like we'll go through them really quickly and you can tell me which one's your favorite one. So this was the first time I had ever for me leading with the business. I had never thought about that before until reading this book and particularly this chapter. um and the way Romy talks about it is, it's like if you start with the business, you can always drop down to the product. But what if you start with the product and they don't even want the product? How in the heck do you circle back around and go to the business, right? So it's genius. And if you can really instill that in your stylist to lead with the business, and the question that I get asked the most is, how do you do that? How do you bring up the business first? The minute someone asks me for pricing, that's my opening for the business. So and so, the nails are blah, 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 or the lipstick is blah, blah, blah. But if you want to get our consulting kit, you can get all of this for almost 50% off. And so that's my lead in for the business with Color Street. The minute price comes up, that's your opportunity to jump in there and and lead with the business. I'll let you guys talk. Tell me one of your favorite reach out rules. Okay, Marin?
Like, where's my mute button? I really liked number 5 because I worry so much about what if I say the wrong thing? What if I say the wrong? But like she says, you cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. Like when, and I remember like when I joined, I was just like, I knew I was going to join, but I didn't like the person that my friend hosted the party with. So I researched and found Kelly. I'm not telling other people to do that because then they probably won't. But anyway, I was like, there was nothing like, because she does the calls with us, and there was nothing that she could say that was going to turn me off of the business. So I just have to like have that confidence that if they do really want to join, it's not going to be because of anything I said or didn't say. So I thought
I
that was
love
pretty cool.
that one too. Anyone else? Any other favorites from the reach out rules?
I'll go.
Yay, Ashley.
So number 6, convincing. So I've always told myself I will never convince someone to do this business, because actually my very first stylist that I ever enrolled, I convinced her like literally hours before my first jumpstart deadline. And she clearly is not here today. So I always told myself I will never do that again. However, I do find myself sometimes, for example, now when there's a trip incentive, like not sticking to my normal process, I guess you could say. And I found myself sometimes doing it when I was pushing for Circle of Excellence, because you just had this like standard where then you felt like if you didn't meet it, at least for me, I felt like I had failed. And so like with the trip incentive going on, I have 2 people that like it's been this ongoing thing, and it was kind of good to just remember like, okay, if I'm convincing them, it's not going to be a good outcome anyway. So I'm probably just better off keeping them as customers, even though I'd love to go to Jamaica.
Right. It's like a fine walk because I feel like there's always a tiny bit of convincing that has to happen, but you're right. You don't want to push it. So it's like a very delicate balance between you know, answering their questions, alleviating fear, offering support, but not pushing. And I completely agree with Circle of Excellence. That first month I missed it, that was hard, and it was shocking to me how much I had built my identity on maintaining that. And so it almost was a good thing to miss it because I feel like I grew more, but yeah, I completely agree. Um, don't leave rambling voicemails. Oh my gosh, raise your hand if you've done that before, especially in the beginning. So one thing that Romy taught in a training for Rodan and Fields, which was so cool. Do you have a sideline sister that you can practice your voice messages to? And so that for new stylists especially, let them know, or just send them to themselves. Like practice your voicemail before you send it. That way, you don't ramble. Uh, Anyone else have a reach out rule that they're gonna love and share with their people? Hey, Julie.
Okay, so it was number 10, lead with the business, default to the products. And I feel like I did do that for a long time, but I have not been doing that lately. I've definitely led with products. And so that's one that I'm working to get back to.
Right, right. It's a system, right? It's a formula. And it's like we make this sometimes so much more difficult than it has to be, or we get so caught up in the launches and all the different things that it is so easy to let them fall in love with the product. And then we know once they fall in love with the product, they will eventually, join. But
Well,
I'm
it's
guilty of
easier.
that too.
It's easier to talk right
Right.
now. It is so easy to talk about the product because there's so many launches, so things are happening all the time. So I feel like all I'm showing on my personal page is nails. All I'm showing, so like where I used to like do the more business blessings, I'm doing more products. And how's that working for me? I haven't recruited in forever, and I know that's probably sad to say, but it's true.
That leads me to my other one, and I was so guilty of this. Don't count your chickens. How many of us have said, "Oh yeah, she's signing up at the end of the month"? We just know she's going to. So that one's a big one for me, like, because in my head I'm doing the math and thinking, okay, I'll have this many points when this person signs, and then they don't sign, or they ghost you. And that one I think can also be attached to rule number one, not getting attached to the outcome of any one conversation. So here's something that has helped me, and it's something I've told my team also. You have to get to a mindset where no is an answer. Celebrate it. You got your answer. When you can look at no the same way you look at yes, they're just two words, right? They're words. Quit giving no the power to deflate you. No's an answer. Celebrate the heck out of that no, because you did your job. You have led them to the water. They didn't want to drink, but you did your job. Celebrate that. And I know that's easier said than done, but I honestly can say that I have perfected this to the point where I do not get emotionally attached to someone saying yes or no. Trusting the system. And most people, and you guys as leaders, you guys know this too, most no's are not right now. How many people have joined your team after giving you solid, hard no's? A lot of them, right? Listen, really listen. I'm a talker, so that one's a big one for me. Anyone else want to chime in here and offer your feedback on these 14 rules?
Number 12 was really big for me, like lead with what is in it for them. I think I just start spewing, how great the business is and, the product's awesome, it sells itself, but really like getting to know that person and finding what, this whole thing with the pain and the no pain and finding
Right.
out a little bit about them and lead with that. Like you're going to, like she said, grab their attention and, it's more personal about them instead of it being about me, wanting a new stylist under me. So I thought that was huge.
I love that, Jamie. And you just led me to what, so in your workbook, we have, this is awesome. And she has printed out in this notebook several different blank spots. So I'm going to challenge you guys to at least fill out 3 of these slots with somebody from your funnel list, because we made our funnel list a few weeks ago. So you should have some prospects. And a way that you could bring it up is just, reaching out and just saying, following up on, our conversation. If Color Street were to work for you, what would that look like for your life? And if Color Street, doesn't happen, what does that look for your life? And that ties back into what the pain board. The pain board is, I can't even begin to tell you how powerful the pain board is. Guys, think about it. Close your eyes. A lot of us we've been really blessed with Color Street. What was a pain that you had before the blessings of this business? For me, I joined because of pain. My husband had been laid off for 8 months at the time. I had been praying and praying for, God to open a door for him, and God opened a door for me for Color Street. I didn't even wear nail polish, and a friend of mine from Rodan and Fields had sent me a sample, and I put that sample on, and I literally had chill bumps. I can't explain it. Not a nail person. Put that nail strip on, and it was as if God himself had spoke to me and said, "This is your path." I knew it. I knew that this was what I was supposed to do. I didn't even have enough money for the kit. I had to sell things on eBay, and it took me 3 days. And I didn't tell anybody. I was doing this. Joined, had no clue what an upline was. I didn't know how this worked. I didn't even know you were supposed to go live, but just something kept guiding me. I went live, sold every single set out of my kit, which was 10 sets at the time, and literally wore twosies for a month before I could afford my own sets. And I think back to that pain of going to sleep at night, not knowing, you know, I have 5 kids. One was in medical school at the time. Couldn't even buy him a pizza if he needed a pizza. That's pain. You know, sure, it would hurt not to get a trip or a fancy car, but when you want to talk to your stylist and uncover their real why, it's not money, it's what the money does. For me, that pain of not being able to take care of 5 kids, that's pain. And so when I think about that, first of all, it makes me want to cry. And second of all, it makes me want to get off this call and work the heck out of my funnel list and work this business like the gift that it is. And why aren't we running harder and faster and burning stronger like we were in the beginning? We've got to get that fire back. That I'm speaking for myself more than anybody. You know, I've gotten complacent, and it's time for me to get back to that pain. And so I highly recommend this pain thing because I think pain moves people. And most people do join because there is a need that's not being met. Does anyone else have anything they want to share with us about your pain points and how, you know, how that could help move your stylist?
I just had a question. Hi, everybody. About like when she talks about all the different stories. I know I'm kind of going backwards, but I'm wondering if there's somewhere that we can get a collection of stories. Like Trinity, you just shared your story. Like that's really powerful, and I had never heard, you know, back that far. So just wondering if we can like maybe even all of our stories, or you know, where we can share them, because they don't have to be from our team, right? Or even our enrollees. They can be from anybody. And Julie knows and Kim knows I'm all about working together. But it's like, you know, it would, if we're all going to do the same thing, we may as well share those stories. So
I love that. What if we all just did a quick video and title it, "What is your pain?" And we can drop it in the messenger thread. And then if Kelly wants us to maybe move it to a group or something, I think that's wonderful because, you know, I know Julie's story and how she's come out of it. Ashley's, I know a lot of your stories, and it's like we forget about those stories. You know, and a lot of people who join, they see us now, they see us, you know, where we're at now. They have no clue how, and especially for my situation, how bottom of the barrel life felt in 2017, and how a nail strip for someone who didn't even like having her nails painted, and just trusting it. Kim, you do have a big story. Every single story, guys, not everyone's going to relate to that kind of pain that I have, that financial pain. Some people, it's the pain of not having community. For some people, it's the pain of loneliness. You know, we forget. Kim, your story evolves. Like Kim, right now, you're empty nester, and how your community has helped keep you intact. That's a story. And it doesn't have to be, you know, rags to riches. But I think identifying the pain point that you had, which led you to Color Street, is a first step to finding your story. Stories, I think Sarah Robbins say this, stories, facts sell, or facts tell, but stories sell. And if people can relate to you, we don't even know the impact that we're having on people. And I keep telling my girls, there is someone today waiting for you to tell your story. There is someone today waiting for you to make that post, that hard post that, you know, kind of opens up your life. And someone's waiting to read that. They are praying for a sign and scrolling through Facebook. They're going to see your post, and it's going to have the possibility of changing their lives. Don't steal that blessing from someone. God gave us these incredible journeys for a reason. And if we're not using it to impact others, then what's the point of what we're going through, right?
I think I was going to say, I think the pain point is a really good one, because right now, I'm sure a lot of you guys, I'm struggling with recruiting because I'm not feeling the love of Color Street right now, or the funness that I used to have, or the newness, all the things, home office, all the different things that are going on right now. But when you start thinking about your pain point, I would take what I'm experiencing now with Color Street any day 100% over the pain I had when teaching at a school where we had drive-by shootings and kids were sexually assaulting each other, and like having to be away from my kids, driving an hour and a half to work, working 24/7. I mean, I work 24/7 now, I feel like, but it's nothing. Like today I got up slowly, got ready, hung out with my dogs, my husband, like I'm doing my own thing because of this. I think I have to remember that pain point that I was feeling 5 years ago that I don't remember so much nowadays. Now I'm like, ugh, home office is bugging me, or ugh, too many launches, or whatever we're complaining about. It's honestly not like I have so many girls complaining about how many launches we're having, and I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. It's just a launch. Like, don't tell anybody about it if you don't want to, type of thing. Like, we're complaining about such small things. If we could just remember what our real pain point was when we started this.
I love that. And it is so true. We move past that pain and we forget that the struggle, I get gas, I don't think about it. 5 years ago, that wasn't the case. I would have to check my account to make sure, can I half a tank, a fourth a tank? What can I afford this week? Just the fear of sometimes going into a store and what if a bill came through and I didn't know it, and the fear of your debit card being, not accepted. Like, that was a legit pain. And yeah, I'm removed from that now. And it's like, I have got to get back to, if I don't work this, that's a reality. If I don't get that fire back, that is a definite reality. And it doesn't have to be a huge pain point. But yeah, have your people identify what's a pain point. Is it not being able to do football? No new shoes this month. Christmas list is cut in half. Groceries. We forget about this business doesn't have to be 6 figures a year to be life changing. $200 a month for most people right now is life changing. And we can help people get to 200 a month with the right support. And if they're coachable, that's definitely something we can do. So let's work on this pain points with our teams, and let's work on the pain points with our prospects, people who have asked you about the business. Circle back to those people like your life depends on it today, because it kind of does. Our financial life kind of does depend on your action. What you do today is what we're going to celebrate in a couple of months from now. It's not instant. It's something that, takes time to kind of cook on the stove for a little bit. And I always tell people, all this work you're doing this week, you're going to be so rewarded for it, but not probably this week, probably in a month or two. That's when those seeds that you planted will take off. But I just appreciate everyone being on here today. I can't wait for Kelly to see that we were able to do this and that she was able to enjoy her retreat. She worked so hard and deserves that. I'm going to take a picture of everybody so I can send it to her. Does anyone have anything in closing? Get a picture. Cheese. Say cheese, everybody. But definitely use the pain points. I think too often the vision boards are like flashy and they're fun, but what really happens if you don't get that purse or the new shoes or the car? I mean, life goes on, right? But think of the pain points, looking at your child and saying, we can't afford that. Can't get that haircut this week, or we can't buy the school stuff you need. We have to budget it. I mean, that's a pain point that I never want to have to ever go back to. And a lot of our stylists are in the pain point right now. How can we get them motivated? Use your pain, use your story, and let's kick butt. So while I have you guys on here, so next week, let me just grab the schedule. Let's see. Julie, you are on the hot seat next week, sweetie. And we are reading chapter 6, which is She's Interested, Now What? So that sounds really good. But I highly recommend, let's all try to get 3 of our prospects on this form. And I love Katie's idea about what if we shared our pain stories with people. I think people would be amazed. And, you know, think about it. We've come a long way. Most of us have, I mean, give yourself a hand. We came a long way in a short time, and we're going to get back to where we were. And the most important part is we're going to bring people with us because it's no fun if we're doing it alone. All right. I hope everyone has a good afternoon. Talk to you guys soon. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Trinity.
Bye, guys.